This is your mom's favorite show, Beer and Chill podcast. My name is Jan,
And I'm Craig.
and we would really appreciate if you would stop by and listen to our show. We are talking about interesting facts about your favorite movies, games, and TV shows.
For example, did you know that Christopher Lee and Ian McKellen had a real-life beef because Christopher Lee wanted to play Gandalf in Lord of the Rings?
And many other great facts.
We hope you check us out and enjoy the rest of your show. Bye-bye.
What's your favorite scary movie?
They mostly come at night. Mostly.
We were attacked by a lycanthrope, a werewolf.
Your suffering will be legendary even in hell.
They're here.
Welcome, victims, to the Horr-Gasm podcast. Kill the lights, lock the doors, get comfy, and prepare for the sexiest and scariest podcast around. I'm Nick, and with me is our co-host, Ali.
Hello, hello.
And we're on episode 2-ish of Werewolf Month.
Oh, I was like, we're on episode 2?
I'll say week 2,
Are you
but...
okay?
Well, I say week 2, but our weeks are so fucked up, it didn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Whoop,
So
whoop.
part 2,
Part 2,
podcast second of
Round 2.
podcast. It's the second Werewolf
werewolf. Yeah.
Month podcast episode
Yes.
thingy.
Yes.
Werewolves podcasts now 2.
Roar and
Roar.
slash. And oh, this was a good one.
This
We had a good
was-
week. Yeah, with this one.
This is a good one.
Yes.
One thing I didn't get to talk about last episode I want to get into is for Talking Chop the differences, because
'Kay.
in this movie they kind of talk about a wolf man,
Right.
which is a little different than a werewolf. Mm-hmm. Wolfman is mostly all humanoid features.
Right.
Looks like a man, but just fuzzy, furry, like the original, like the wolf man.
Right.
He was a guy,
Yeah.
he's had, just lots of fur, hair,
Her. I like her.
and like fangs. And that
Yes.
was it.
Yeah.
Whereas with this movie or other relatable werewolf movies, it's more animalistic looks. Animalistic, like Silver Bullet, another one. Stephen King's Silver Bullet, werewolf movie. So yeah, and also like the How to Kill One.
Yes.
That switches.
Yeah.
Again, it's brought up in this movie. It was
Yes.
brought up in American Werewolf in London, where the common belief that to kill a werewolf has to be pierced or shot with a silver bullet.
Yes.
Silver, which is similar to vampires.
Right.
I think that's in Underworld 2. That was
It
how
is.
to kill them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some movies follow that, some movies don't.
Yeah, because in this one they bring that up and it's laughable almost.
Yeah.
That, they literally laugh. But different ways to like harm yourself as even when you're a vampire, and they're listing off the different ways, and not as like hard to kill as they are in other movies.
Yeah. It depends on movie to movie how they want to work with the lore.
Right.
It's funny how people are, like with vampires, the whole can't see the reflection in a mirror was
Right.
because back in the 60s, 1600s, 1700s,
Yeah.
they made mirrors out of silver.
I see. I didn't know that.
And that's how, it would not work. Whereas
Okay.
in modern times, this is brought up on an episode of Buffy, how they record Buffy and a vampire fighting.
Yeah.
And it records their video.
Yes.
And like, well, how can they catch a reflection? It's vampires don't cast reflections. Mm-hmm. It's not silver. that's the
There you go.
the rub. Mm-hmm. So
Makes sense.
it does, and that's why probably nowadays, who has silver?
Right.
Like before, utensils were called silverware because they're made of
Yeah.
silver. Now it's aluminum or
Whatever.
metal or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was gonna say other than like I have a chest of silverware, but other than that, I don't think silver jewelry is hardly even silver anymore. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's like some rip on something.
yeah.
Interesting. Well, that makes sense.
And
Yeah.
that's a bit of the mythicalness to how to kill a werewolf. You can't just shoot him in the head with, or crush him.
Right.
You got to use a silver bullet. It's their weakness. Everything has to have a weakness. That's kind of how stories go.
Right.
So, like, vampire, stake to the heart,
Right.
sunlight, beheading, all that. Werewolf, silver bullet.
I always wonder if, like, even, like, if I was a werewolf or a vampire, I would keep, even if it doesn't, like, hold true anymore, I would keep those illusions, like, going, so people can't be like, oh, you can't just shoot them.
True.
I'd be like,
Yep.
yeah, you
Well,
can't.
You finished watching the Dracula miniseries on Netflix.
Yes.
The ending. A
Yeah.
little bit of spoilers here, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out. But
Yeah, it's so good.
the ending kind of, it really reinforces the rules for vampires. Can't be in sunlight, can't
Yeah.
touch a cross or be present of a cross. And they just kind of flushed out by saying it's all in the vampire's mind.
Exactly. Yes.
It's his rules that because years and years he's been like alive for hundreds of years, thousands even. It's gotten so in his brain, in his head, that these things hurt him that he believes it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's interesting because, like, the mind is such a scary place. Like, when you think of even, like, this is obviously completely different, but I'm even thinking of, like, Sword Art Online, where, like, your consciousness, like, you're playing a video game, but if you die in the video game, you die in real life. It's like nothing physically happens to you, but you just believe in your head that you die, so you die.
No,
Like-
no. In the game, they guess, or in the show.
There's, like, a heart attack or something, don't they?
No,
have
it's
something?
the headgear they wear
Yeah.
releases like a microwave.
Oh, I
that
see.
kills
Sure.
them. So when they die in the game, it kind of sends a signal to the machine, and it just basically fries their brain.
Yeah.
Cooks them.
Oh, I must have missed. It's been a while since I've watched it.
Go rewatch it. It's a good show.
But yeah, it's that sort of thing where it's, like, so mental in your head that, like, you believe it fully. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, but I liked this movie for werewolves, though. I understand why people say it's the best werewolf movie.
For one of them, yeah. I
Yeah.
agree 100%.
Yeah, and it was funny too, though. Like, some of the humor was sort of like, I don't even know how to say it, like British humor, basically, like very
A bit, yeah.
yeah, like
Dry kind of.
very dry, and I love that. It's funny, yeah. Oh,
Me, who I love my British comedies, like,
yes,
are being served Red Dwarf.
yes,
All those. It's just great. It's funny. And it works.
yeah. It totally works in this, yeah, because it's such a serious movie. And I think when you sprinkle a little bit of comedy into it, like, it makes it better.
Yep.
Yeah, it lightens it just enough that there's, like, when you get to, like, the gore scene. The scene at Piccadilly Station in this movie is wild.
Yep.
Wild. It was like, oh, this is happening. Oh, that's happening. Oh, these things are happening.
Yep.
You just, like so many people are dying and getting crushed and beheaded and run over, and we were like,
Anarchy.
what? Yeah, anarchy. It was insane, but, like, I loved every second of it. Yeah, it was good. Oh, and I just want to talk about the transformation scene. Like, I just want to live there.
Oh, we
I want to
will.
live on that scene forever. We can talk about it when we actually
We
get
will,
there,
yeah.
but there were so many good parts to this. Yeah, it was fun.
And the effects were great. The acting was great. I picked out, I think it was Brian Glover. He's one of the guys who are staying at, was the wolf? No. Sheep's Head? No. What's the Slaughtered Lamb?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I picked him up like, that guy looks familiar, so I do a little quick IMDb look.
Yep.
Sure enough, that's the guy from Alien 3.
Yep.
And this other guy in the same, he's playing with the darts. He's from Pirates of the Caribbean. He's the French kind of English.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm like, oh yes, this is, good casting already. I love it.
Woo! Already 10 out of 10.
Yeah, and even Frank Oz. Frank Oz is even in this movie.
Yes.
The voice of Yoda and Fozzie and Miss Piggy,
Yes.
who was in the movie too.
Who was in the movie? Miss Piggy was in the movie. Oh, it's good. Yeah.
It's just, this is a great movie. It's a wild ride.
Yes.
It's really, really entertaining. I didn't find it scary.
Yeah, I didn't find, well, like scary, no. Some of it was shocking, I think.
Shocking, yes.
Yeah, like the very first like attack scene, it was like, oh my god, that's a lot of blood. Oh, there's stuff flying.
Because I think we're also desensitized
Very.
to the point where I think we see the real thing and be like, oh, this is a movie. Maybe. But it's just, I could see if I first, young Nick, if I saw this when I was younger,
Yeah.
I'd have been terrified of
Absolutely.
wolves for like a while. Mm-hmm. And just the gore. The gore was interesting. But,
Yeah, the practical effects. Wow. Wow. The
bow, wow, 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 wow.
Wow.
Oh, bow.
Wow.
Bow, wow.
Bow chicka wow. They're I don't know if it's a spoiler for the movie. I don't know. You guys are listening to this, sorry. You did this to yourselves.
We try to help people because we announced it the episode before. If you can watch it
Exactly.
beforehand,
Yeah.
so you can also have it fresh in your mind when doing the podcast.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we're listening to the episode, but spoil away.
Spoil away.
Spoiler
So
owl,
his
flying through.
the very beginning. There's two backpackers walking through England, and one of them gets killed like almost immediately. And so he follows our main character David around as like a ghost, I guess. They kind of say that they're undead in quotations. But so he goes through varying stages of decay as he's following him around. And the first time he appears to him, he's like still looks like fresh, I guess, in quotations. And the practical effects are unreal. Like his skin, because he was like clawed, like scratched, slashed on his one side of his face down to his like collarbone, and like so there's skin like flapping, and it's bloody and like wet looking, like so creepy.
The continuity in this is so well done.
I was reading in the trivia that they actually shot it in sequence, which they
good.
never do in movies, just for time and cast and everything. But yeah, they shot it in sequence just to keep the feel of it, and it shows that I really like this. Yeah, this is a good werewolf movie.
This is a really good werewolf movie.
Yeah, I'm just like going through it in my head. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad we watched this one.
And I don't want to talk, just about, I already kind of touched on it, but the whole difference between a werewolf and a wolf man.
Yes.
There's a bit of a difference.
Right.
Again, with the werewolf, it's more animalistic.
Right.
Looks more like a wolf than
Yes.
man. There's not that many wolfman movies.
Right.
There's the original, like the old 40s,
Yes.
30s, relational, black
Right.
and white. There's Bitten with Jack Nicholson. Mm-hmm. And remember, that was a big thing when it came out. That was a big one. And there was the remake of Wolfman that was out with, I think, Anthony Hopkins.
Oh.
That was supposed to kickstart the Universal horror, like monster universe.
Yeah.
But then I think either that or Tom Cruise's The Mummy just kind of shit-canned everything because it was so poorly received.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Because we need some more good monster movies.
Well, I think I think it's not seen as a horror, but Van Helsing
Oh,
did
definitely.
a fantastic job of taking all the classic horror monsters and put them together.
I wish there would have been more of those, because I would have watched like 5 of those. It was such a good movie.
Yep.
Yeah. This is sort of off topic, but a movie I watched that just came out on Prime, it's called The Rental, and it's with Alison Brie and Dan Stevens, like the guy from Apostle, like the main character in that one. And it's they are married and they rent a cabin with like Dan Stevens' brother and his girlfriend, and a serial killer comes and like stalks them in this rental house. And it was so creepy. And it's one of those ones where like at the end of the movie, you really don't really know who did it. And it's insane. Yeah. And it just came out on Amazon Prime, like as like a, just one of their little exclusives.
Yeah.
It was so good. You should watch it. It's not like straight up scary, but so suspenseful.
Oh,
Like I was
cool.
watching it and I was like, oh, it looks fine. I watched a trailer and I was like, yeah, I'll give it a try. And I was watching it and I literally felt like a child because I had like my blankets up to my nose and I was like, oh, it's so scary. Because he literally stalks them. And it's like a new sort of, like a serial killer-y type thing.
Yeah.
And, just normal people being monsters. And I was like, it was crazy. It was the first movie directed by Dave Franco, who is
Oh.
married to Alison Brie.
Oh,
6
cool.
Degrees of Separation.
Another one that came out on Amazon recently was Greenland.
Okay, yeah.
And that's that
yeah.
kind of asteroid coming to Earth, gonna
Yes.
destroy everything movie, which I saw it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It's a good, similar to Armageddon or
Interesting.
Deep Impact,
Yeah.
where it's going to happen. You just got to kind of go through until it ends.
Yeah, go through the motions.
And
Wow.
they have a good part of, basically the family who gets chosen by random lottery,
Yeah.
random quotations, to serve, they get to live, they get to survive, and to go hide in the bunker in Greenland.
Right.
But they find out the son has like type 1 or type 2 diabetes, has a little insulin thing in his stomach,
Yeah.
or in his, they just pump in.
Yeah.
Because that they wouldn't let him in because he's special needs or something. And
wow.
so they're trying to get back in. They get separated. There's a good. That's where it gets kind of horror-esque, besides the looming
Right.
threat of giant rocks
Death.
coming and destroying everything.
Yes.
But a family, she's the woman and the boy hop in with these strangers to get a ride to. Oh, I forget where. And they decide to take, because you get handband wristbands
Oh,
that
okay.
say, "Oh, hey, you're selected."
Yeah.
So they take hers, they pretend the son is theirs, kick her out, and trying to survive with them, and they're kind of, be better parents than her, and
Oh, no. What
yeah.
a mess.
And there's other things that go on, like
Yeah.
the husband, they get separated.
Jeez.
They go to meet us, and it's not that bad of a movie. I thought it was really good. Just kind of the things going on between. They find out the Earth is going to be destroyed, and then when it does hit,
Yeah.
it's a good story. It's a good thriller. Some interesting things go on. You got some racial attitudes going on there.
Yes. Oh, messy. I love it.
And it's just, and then they're ready to get to Canada to go fly to Greenland. So hooray, Canada!
As you do.
As of course, this is the best place to be.
As is tradition.
Well, it's another one you suggest a movie. I suggest a movie to watch because
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Well, here's one that I watched that I didn't enjoy. I watched, it's on Netflix. It just came out. It's a 2018 movie, but it's, I think it's British. So it just came to Canadian Netflix, and it's called Slaughterhouse Rules.
Oh, this is not with. I know what
Yes.
you're talking about. It's with.
The kid from Sex Education and one of the characters from Peaky Blinders and Simon Pegg.
That's who I'm
yes,
thinking of, yes.
and the guy that's always with him in every movie.
Yes.
Yes. And I was really excited for it. And it was not good.
Oh.
I was really excited because it's got this like premise of like these kids and they teach them to be like really fucking badass and like beat each other up and like get all these cool skills, and then they're like, oh, by the way, we're fracking on this land, so there's us just being crazy, and there's like a bunch of environmentalists trying to stop them and stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, so they're gonna like fight or figure it out or something, and spoiler alert if you don't want to know, but it's so as they're fracking, they happen upon mole people.
Mole people.
But they're like more moles than people, but they're big and they eat things, and it was bizarre.
Well, now I'm interested now. This sounds like a good movie.
Yeah, like the acting was really good. Like Margot Robbie's in it.
Oh wow.
She plays Simon Pegg's fiance. Like why?
Why
But
not?
I was watching it and I was into it, and then I was like, once the mole people came, I was like, yeah. Like it just, I don't know, it took a weird turn, and like sometimes you got to pick a lane, I guess. I don't know.
I get that.
That's how I feel sometimes when I'm watching horror movies, but anyways. Yeah. But speaking of horror movies, should we get into American Werewolf in London?
Yes,
Let's
we
do
should.
it. All right, so this week we watched An American Werewolf in London. It's a 1981 movie, directed and written by John Landis. Woo!
Now, why is that name familiar?
Well, you know, we were just talking about it before.
You asked me, like, I've heard
Yeah.
that. And he's done quite a few well-known movies. He's done
Yes.
Animal House and all that. He was a director
Blues
of that.
Brothers,
Blues
yeah.
Brothers. But also, sadly, he was a director of the Twilight Zone movie, which had that horrendous helicopter accident, which took
Yeah.
the lives of an actor and 2 child actors.
Yes.
And it was, there's actual video of it.
That we
happening.
watched.
We did.
What were we watching? Oh, you know what? It was that Cursed Videos
Yeah.
special that we watched on Shudder or whatever.
Yep.
Oh, it was so fucked up. And we're like sitting there like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, it's gonna, you know, they'll stop it. Oh, no.
No, it showed
They show the
recording.
whole thing, start to finish.
You don't see
multiple
anything graphic,
times.
thankfully. You just see the helicopter come down, the rotors come down.
Yep.
On top of them, you see water, and then it's just water. And not so much fire, but
Yes.
you don't see anything graphic in that video, thankfully. But it was, thankfully, very quick death for all 3.
Right,
And,
yeah,
but just it was
horrible.
conditions were bad.
yes.
Effects went wrong.
Yeah. They were
And-
doing some like mildly illegal things by having the kids there late and stuff. And but it's just, he was like, they said that like he was such a good person, but just he was really serious about like directing, you know. So sad. But yeah. Okay.
Well, back on topic. Where did you first hear about this movie?
You know, I think I was watching like a top 50 horror movies you need to see before you die special, and this was on it. And the reason it was on it was because of that transformation scene.
Yep.
They're like, you need to, if you only make it to that part in the movie, it's worth it. You know, the transformation scene is so amazing, really. And now seeing it, 100% agree. I
agree.
still don't know how they did it.
Effects.
Like,
Fucking amazing effects.
listen, smartass.
Well, okay, let's compare this now. We watched Ginger Snaps.
Yeah.
We watched this. So the transformation is like a month-long effect in Ginger Snaps.
Right.
It's a slow process.
Yes.
With this, it's very quick, incredibly painful.
Yes. Which makes more sense.
It does. I agree. It should be painful because your body is changing and twisting. Your bones are growing,
Right.
breaking, re-breaking, refixing, and breaking again to grow. If it didn't hurt, I'd be like, what's wrong with you?
Yes, exactly. And it's not even as fast. Like when I think of like a fast transformation,
Yeah.
I always think of like Professor Lupin in Harry Potter.
Yes.
Like that is like he looks at the moon, turns away, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like it's almost instantaneous. Where this one, it's like, it takes a bit of time, which again, I think makes more sense that it takes a little bit of time, right?
It
Because your
should.
body is literally like regrowing almost.
And how when he first transformed, you can see he's sweating. He's hot.
sweating, yes.
His body's kind of just working up to the transformation, and it's not good.
No, oh my God, yeah, it was unreal. Like I would put that in like my top 5 favorite scenes in a horror movie for sure. It was really well done. Yeah, if you don't watch anything else, Google American Werewolf in London transformation scene because it is worth it.
It really
100%, yeah.
It's so good.
How about you? Where did you first hear about this?
I remember back with my VHS viewings as a kid in the video rental stores. I'd always flip through it like, American Werewolf in London, flip on the back. And you'd see if I remember, the one guy's all slashed up.
Yes.
And I think you see a bit of the wolf.
Interesting.
And that's
Well,
it.
yeah, you'd have to.
Yeah.
And this wolf is on all fours as well.
Yes.
As opposed to Ginger Snaps, where
Yeah.
she was a bipedal, I believe. But
Well,
like,
she was, I think,
kind of both.
she was
I
on,
guess.
on all fours.
Was she?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's been a few weeks since I've watched it.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting. I liked, and like I said in the last episode, I usually like bipedal like werewolves better. It feels more natural. Like when they actually walk around, it makes it feel more like they're a wolf and a person, sort of.
Yeah.
But I loved what they did in this one. I still can't believe it was 1981.
I know. And they also made it more like a curse. They really focused on you get cursed, because that was also what it was called. It was,
Right.
You're not stricken, you're not inflicted, you're cursed with the werewolf bite. It's a
Right.
curse. And it shows that, you're cursed.
Yeah.
You see those you kill,
Yeah. Right.
you see the dead, and the only way there's a way though that you can break out of it. You have to die. You have to break that line of
Exactly.
of succession, that line of werewolves
Right.
of you, and then they can kind of go free. Because if you die, they explain is you die an unnatural death,
Right.
and you're now kind of stuck as
like
a
almost like
ghost.
purgatory, like
Yes.
an undead
Yeah.
purgatory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was brought up in the sequel. And the werewolves are a little more different. They're more bipedal. They
Yes.
also go on all fours, but they're kind of focused on the whole bipedal part.
Right.
And CGI.
Yes.
But when we watch
Oh.
it, you'll see. Yeah, it's really, they really emphasize the curse part, and I like that.
Yeah, because with that kind of stuff, like it is kind of supernaturally, and when they add that little like extra element to it, it's like, oh, it makes it sort of a little bit more spoopy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks vicious.
Yes.
It is a very scary looking design and creature,
Yes.
which good.
Yes.
That's how it should be.
It's a horror movie.
They got huge fangs. It's always snarling. It stalks like the guy in the subway. It stalks him.
Yes, that was good. Mm-hmm. That was a really good part.
That was really good.
Yeah.
And also, what's left is just a bloody mess. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mess around.
No.
It eats quick, but it's
Yeah. Blah, 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 blah.
yeah.
Good parts though. I appreciate the degree that they went to. I was kind of reading through the trivia, and John Landis was kind of disappointed that he had to cut certain parts that he really liked out of the movie to keep it under an R rating. And he said he wishes he wouldn't have done that and just said fuck it and kept everything in. But
Yeah.
And
also on the trivia, you kind of told me how when Michael Jackson saw this movie, he was so impressed with the effects.
Yep.
He hired John Landis and the effects team to do with the effects for Thriller.
Thriller, yeah.
And Landis also did
Black and white.
his video Black and White. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
So this is a very, very impactful and kind of cultural
Exactly.
movie.
Yeah. Which is like awesome. Yeah,
And
I can see now. Definitely.
I think it really, it set the tone for future werewolf movies.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've never seen a werewolf movie like this before. Like it's
Yeah, where did Twilight go wrong?
nowhere. It's
Fuck
perfect.
Twilight.
It's perfect.
Fuck Twilight.
It's perfect.
Fuck Twilight. Those aren't werewolves, those are puppies.
They're
Terrible.
beautiful, wonderful puppies.
And
Your
vampires-
hate for Twilight will never sway me.
Your love for Twilight will never sway me. Disgusting. Terrible. They sparkle.
They're sweet.
So do
sweet,
My Little
sparkly
Ponies.
boys.
Oh, God.
Oh, I love it.
Vampires is such a better movie than that.
Oh, God.
How does that meme go? Like, something that's not even at all romantic is a better love story than Twilight.
Yes, yes.
This movie is a better love story than Twilight.
But it's one of those things that I'm not going to talk about Twilight, but it's just one of those things where like I grew up with it and it's like so bad it's good. Like I've rewatched them more times than I can count because they're just so bad. Like I don't disagree that they're bad. I find it endearing.
That's a weird way to say shit. Anyway.
I like you.
I know.
Oh my gosh. So, cast, right? Cast.
Should have called Ichabod Twilight because we always punch Twilight. Like you punch Ichabod.
We always, yeah.
Or we joke about
Joke
that.
about
We'd never
punching
do
and
that.
slapping.
Never.
Don't call the authorities.
No, that dog gets so much love, it's ridiculous. All right, so we do the cast.
Yes, cast.
Okay, so-
Cast, yes.
So this movie stars David Naughton as David Kessler,
Yes.
Jenny Agutter as Nurse Alex Price, Griffin Dunn as Jack Goodman, who's David's best buddy, who
Right.
gets attacked early on. John Woodvine as Dr. J.S. Hirsch. Don McKillop as Inspector Villers. Brian Glover as chess player, who was in Alien 3.
Yes.
David Schofield as dart player, who was in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
And Leela Kay as barmaid.
Barmaid.
And Frank Oz as Mr. Collins. Frank fucking Oz.
That's so cool.
The voice of Miss Piggy, the voice of Yoda, the voice of Fozzie Bear.
Yeah.
The Muppet Dude,
Waka Waka.
Waka Waka, is in a horror movie. He's in this movie. He's in a small role. He's just the what's the word? The consulate, American consulate, embassy kind of guy.
Yes.
He's there to kind of support David a bit when he gets found after being attacked.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a jerk. He's kind
Yes.
of a dick in this. And even funnier, during one of David's nightmares, there's him and his family watching the Muppet Show. You got Kermit and Miss Piggy arguing backstage.
Yes.
I laughed. I was so excited because I'm a Muppet dude.
Yes.
And I loved it. And also I got a kick out of how we got the voice of Muppets and we have the guy, or have the show actually on TV.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, that's good how they did that. What was I going to say? I didn't really recognize any of the people in here, like any of the main characters.
No, they're all pretty.
And like the main character who played David, like I was just scrolling through his IMDb, and he does like mostly Hallmark movies, which seems to be the place that horror actors and actresses go to like make their bank afterwards. Which like get it, if that's, but that's people who will hire them. And I'm so used to seeing them because I watch a lot of Hallmark movies and I see so many horror people in them. Like so many. It's interesting. But...
Well, the one who played Alex Price, she was, before this, she was in Logan's Run. And she went on to play in Child's Play 2.
Oh.
So she went and did some of the horror thing after
just
too.
Watched those. I don't remember her.
Yeah. And Jack, he didn't do much after.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jack.
Right. Sorry, Jack.
Okay.
You were good in this.
Yeah. he was really good.
He was really
good. He was a great kind of goofy guy in this.
Yes, like ripping on each other. The chemistry between Jack and David was so good. Yeah. It was funny.
They really had the best friends thing down.
Yes.
Pat,
and you actually believed it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, for the actors being kind of in the unknown area for me, they were great.
I agree.
There was 100%. No bad actor in this movie whatsoever.
No, it was good.
Except that little bratty kid.
I liked that kid though. That was funny. We laughed a lot at that scene. We'll go over it when we get there.
And
that was funny.
I originally thought this was a straight up, serious horror.
Yes.
It's not.
No, because
I was comedy.
After the beginning, I'm like, Nick, this has to be a horror comedy. You're like, no, it's a horror, and I'm like,
I was always under impression this is a straight up horror movie. It's a spoopy movie. It's to scare you. Well, kind of. But
yes and no.
They mix in a lot of kind of goofiness and bit of just funniness to make it. The
humor is good.
They did well with the humor. It worked. It worked very well in this movie.
Agreed. Yes. So much. Well, let's get into the plot. Okay. We've already basically talked about all the good parts.
Okay, so two American backpackers from New York City, David Kessler and Jack Goodman, are trekking across the moors in Yorkshire. As night falls, they stop at a local pub called the Slaughtered Lamb. Jack notices a 5-pointed star on the wall, but when he asks about it, the pub goers become hostile. This is also the kind of a thing where apparently they know about the werewolves.
Right.
They're just, I don't know. Either some of them are the werewolves themselves or they're hiding it. I don't know.
Well, and that's what I thought when I was originally, when we were just watching it, I was like, well, maybe, what's it called? They're all werewolves and like that's why the pub is called the Slaughtered Lamb, and
could
it's
be.
like just
I
a
thought that.
thing, right?
I did think that.
That's why I was like, oh well, that's like a giveaway.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, in the sequel, there's more like a community of werewolves, and that's where it's kind of
Interesting.
focused around. It's not bad. The pair decide to leave, and the pub goers warn them to keep to the road, stay clear of the moors, and beware of the full moon. So if they were werewolves, they would have told them, go walk into the dark and
exactly.
hope for the best.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah. David and Jack end up wandering off the road onto the moors. Dumb fucks.
Which, one job, guys.
Yeah. And we're attacked by a vicious werewolf creature who we never found out who it was.
Right.
Another who was it?
They do shoot him though, and he is dying beside David.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we just kind of see him
Oh,
very
right.
momentarily.
That's right.
Yeah, I thought he was hallucinating because I'm like, who the fuck is that guy?
I
And
thought
I'm
that
like,
was Jack.
No, because he's naked.
I thought I noticed that. Oh, right.
I thought it was a hallucination, and then I'm like, oh, right.
I didn't even
'cause
put two and two together there. Wow.
It's
Good.
my
Someone's
big,
paying
it's my
attention.
big
Good
brain.
job. Good job. Also, I was trying to deal with the reflection of light. through my
Yes, you
windows.
were. That's true. That's
Was
true.
annoying.
Yeah. It's what's wrong with watching horror movies
Yeah.
in the daytime is the light.
Yeah. The beast is Jack is mauled to death and David is injured. The beast is shot and killed by some of the pub goers who come out in search for the boys. Instead of a dead animal, David sees the corpse of a naked man lie next to him before passing out. I was not paying attention. Apparently.
Of course.
Stupid me. David wakes up 3 weeks later in a hospital in London. He is interviewed by Police Inspector Villers, who tells him that he and Jack were attacked by an escaped lunatic. But David insists that they were attacked by some sort of
an
rabid
animal.
dog or wolf.
And he has scratches all over. Even his face has huge scratches. Why did
Yeah.
they think Anyways.
I don't know. An undead Jack appears to David and explains that the beast that attacked them was a werewolf, and reveals that David is now one. Jack urges David to kill himself before the next full moon, not only because Jack is cursed to linger undead for as long as the bloodline of the werewolf that attacked them survives, but also to prevent David from inflicting the same fate on anyone else. And Jack's, he's trying to help out his buddy.
Yeah. Help him out, but also be like, listen, dude.
Yeah, help me out, you help
Yeah.
me, I help. Yeah.
You gotta,
Literally bite the bullets.
Drake's finger across neck.
Yeah.
Just listen. Do a favor for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But
David's
also-
no, you're crazy. You're dead. You're crazy. I'm
Yeah.
fine.
He thinks he's hallucinating. He's
Yes.
going a little mental.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of a thing going with the nurse.
Yep.
Hello, nurse. Dr. Hirsch takes a road trip to the slaughtered lamb to see if what David has told him is true. When asked about the incident, the pub goers deny any knowledge of David, Jack, or the attack.
Yes.
However, one distraught pub goer speaks to Dr. Hirsch outside the pub.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
that's
the dark guy.
The dark dude.
Yeah.
And says David should not have been taken away, and that everyone else will be in danger when he transforms. Upon his release from intensive care, David moves in with Alex Price, a young nurse who grew infatuated with him in the hospital.
Is that how you get married? Do I have to turn into a werewolf to go to a hospital to pick up a hot nurse? Is that how this is going?
Icky can bite me any day. Then.
Icky.
Icky.
We need bites.
Need some werewolf bites.
I'm lonely. It's Valentine's Day.
And it's a funny joke how when the nurses are talking about David when he's still unconscious, the one nurse, not Alex, but the other one,
Yeah.
says, "Oh, I think he's Jewish." He's like, "Well, how do you figure that?" I gave him a good a good once over. I checked.
And you know what? It's actually funny you say that because they had to avoid full frontal nudity for the main character
Yep.
because he has an obvious sign of him not being Jewish. So they
Good
had
one.
to do as little full frontal as possible, especially during the scene where he changes, this
Yeah.
transformation, any close-ups.
Yeah.
So they could do far away shots, but so. Just
And you see
FYI.
something is shown later on when he
Yes.
wakes up in the zoo. There's some male nudity.
Woohoo!
Where was I?
Where was I talking about nudity?
Yes.
Obviously.
All about the new. This is Horr-Gasm.
This is this is what we're
Sexiest.
here for.
Sexiest and scariest. He stays in Alex's London apartment, where they later have sex. Do they ever? Jack, in a more advanced stage of decay, appears to David to warn him that he will become a werewolf the next night.
Yep.
Jack again advised David to take his own life to avoid killing innocent people. But David refuses to believe him. Because why not? He just had sex. I'm not
Exactly.
gonna lose a good thing. Come on now. When the full moon rises, David painfully,
Yes.
and painfully transforms from his human form into a werewolf. David, now in werewolf form, prowls the streets and the London underground, killing and slaughtering 6 people in the process.
Yes.
This is I like this because you don't really see much.
Right.
You see like a close up of the wolf, the teeth, the snout, the eyes, and you see a very close up of the attack where it's always to the side.
Right.
But he attacks 2 at first. These this couple who are going to have like a little dinner with their
Party,
friends,
yeah.
and they're gonna sneak around the back and surprise him and give him a good scare. And then the wolf attacks them both. And
Yeah.
the people that go see the wife looks out the window and sees what's going on. But she's like, "There's something going on out there. Some riffraff going on." And so she sends her husband out there, who's got a nice either glass full of scotch or brandy or wine.
Yes,
Who knows? He goes out. He finds the one fellow's arm,
Yeah.
and then he survives,
Right.
but he finds remains.
Yes.
And then we see 3 homeless people at
Yeah.
the docks, and there's a puppy who gets away.
Yes.
Pupper,
the dog's
Pupper
like,
runs.
fuck this.
They're not so lucky.
Yeah.
And we have this gentleman who is on the underground
Subway.
subway,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he gets stalked very well. And this is a great. I love the scene where he hears it. He goes to leave. He keeps hearing the growl behind him. When he's going up, when he kind of falls onto
Right.
the escalator going up,
Yeah.
you see it slowly walking into view. And you see his point of
Yes.
view going up to the guy. It's a great, great scene. I love that. You don't see much.
It's really interesting how they can do it and make it so creepy without actually showing a lot.
Alien. It's
Yes,
very
also
alienish
that,
because
yes.
they show as little as possible for the big reveal.
Yes.
Which they do in the end, like this movie too.
Right.
And it just works. Same with Jaws.
Yes.
Jaws did it perfectly too.
Absolutely. You
just-
lead up.
You don't see much. You
Yes.
you get that tension building to what was that? What did I see? And you want to see more. You try and look closer, and then they get you with the scare.
Right. Yeah.
It's just brilliant, brilliant photography and cinematography.
Yeah, I agree.
He wakes up the next morning naked on the floor of a wolf enclosure at the London Zoo,
Oh.
with no recollection of what happened, and manages to make his way back to Alex's apartment. Again, this is funny. Nudity and
Yeah.
funny. He's trying to cover up, and he's sneaking through the zoo.
Yeah.
Runs into an old lady. She kind of gives him like a look.
Yeah.
He runs to a bush, and then he calls his kid over.
Yes. So
With
he's
balloons.
squatting in a bush.
Yeah.
And calls like a child over, like 7 or 8 maybe, who has
Yeah.
a bunch of balloons, and he's like, "Hey kid, come over here.
Kid, run away!
I'll give you
No,
a
no.
pound. I'll give you 2 pounds."
Yeah, for your balloons. Like, who
Yeah.
are you? I'm the balloon robber. What are you doing in the bush? And he comes out
Completely like
covering himself. He's like,
Yeah.
He just has a little chat with the boy, and he grabs the balloons and takes off.
Yes.
And the boy's like, huh, okay. Goes to his mum, and he's like, what's wrong, love? A naked American
yeah.
took my balloons.
A naked American man took my balloons. She's like, "What?"
Yeah. Then we see him running. He grabs this.
This like expensive red fur coat.
Yeah, of some lady, and he puts that on. The balloons fly away, and he takes
Jeez.
the bus back to Alex's. It was just.
It was funny. It's a good.
It's a good, funny scene. Little.
After you just watch him like rip people to shreds,
Yeah.
it's nice to have like that. That's where I think like the contrast is so important because it's like, oh right, this is still like a
Yeah.
haha movie, and you forget that he just like it doesn't feel so dark. Where like as compared to Ginger Snaps that we watched last week, like it was so dark the whole time.
Oh, yes,
and was
yes.
meant to be.
Yeah.
But this one is like kind of lighthearted at the same time.
And with the boy, I'm like, stranger danger.
Yes, like there's a naked man in that bush, sir.
Nowadays, he'd be.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
After realizing that he became a werewolf and was responsible for the previous night's murders, yeah, he's like, I feel great. I don't know what happened, but I feel great. And Alex is all kind of going for it. And it's the doctor kind of figures it out. It's like, just get him to the hospital. We'll take care of him then. Mm-hmm. And they take a cab, and the cab guy was going over about the murders. Dave was like, "How's me?" He gets out, and he freaks out.
Right.
He kind of realizes, shit's bad.
Yeah.
David unsuccessfully attempts to get himself arrested in Trafalgar Square, which is kind of funny because he does everything. The cop's like, piss off.
Yeah.
Move along. He does say that too.
Oh, he does. Yeah, you're like, the cop line. Move along.
He then warns Alex to stay away from him, and he loves her. Yeah, he gets the
yes.
I love you, but I'm dangerous. I love you, and he runs away. David goes to Piccadilly Circus, calling his family from a phone booth to say he loves them. Then loses courage when he attempts and fails to slit his own wrists with a pocket knife. Mm-hmm. In a porno. Nope, that was in the booth. That was in the telephone booth.
Right.
And also when he was unconscious, he had a bunch of these, I forgot to mention, these weird nightmares of werewolves who dressed up, killing his family, killing him. Mm-hmm. It's very, very weird.
It is,
but I think it's like the transformation part. Like he's...
Right.
Yeah, it's like his body's kind of the curse. Like it knows what's going on. It's kind of preparing him for...
And he has like some of his nightmares are like literally him naked running through a forest. Like it's just...
Yes, hunting.
Yeah. Yes.
Hunting. He hunts a deer.
Yes.
It's like the beast, the wolf part's kind of, taking residence and taking over.
Exactly. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. And also, so David then suddenly sees Jack in a yet more advanced state of decay outside of an adult movie theater. And also, there is nudity and sex advertised everywhere in England in the 80s.
Yes.
I am surprised that it was there. I really am. I didn't realize it was that blatant.
Yeah.
Because there's orgy something on one of the...
Yeah, all 24/7 orgy or something going on.
In the underground railway.
Yes.
Inside, Jack is accompanied by David's victims from the previous night, most of whom are furious with David and suggest different methods for him to commit suicide. The wife of the guy is hilarious.
Oh my God.
She's so bubbly.
Yeah.
And just kind of
like
goofy.
So happy.
Yeah.
Like, why, ma'am?
Yeah, she could care less. She's dead. She's throwing out different ideas. Like, you could take use a gun.
Sleeping pills.
Your sleeping pills. Take a gun, put it in your forehead, and boom, problem solved.
Yes.
She's just so bubbly.
And the husband's just like smiling, agreeing with her. It's like, okay.
The other the guy he killed on the railway, was really upset though.
Yes.
And the three homeless guys, they were not too.
They were
happy.
pissed. Like the subway guy was like, now my wife is, has no husband.
My
and
wife's
my
a
kids
widow,
are
and
fatherless.
my children have no father. Yeah. And Jack's like, guys, I'm trying to help my friend here. Just give me some better ideas.
Yes.
Drowning. Like there's just all the ways to kill him. Hanging. No, it can survive that.
Yep.
It might not work.
Yeah.
And so while he's in there, some full moon comes up, and David transforms again into a werewolf inside the movie theater. People die.
Yes. Yes.
And the police show up.
Oh, there's and the police comes in, and there's just like a pile of bloody mess.
It's just mutilated corpse. Mm-hmm. And he kind of runs out, and they close the shutter, and they try and hold it shut. And David bursts through, and he decapitates Inspector Villers. Mm-hmm. He's also kind of a jerk through this movie.
Yes.
Not a big role, but...
This is a Piccadilly Square scene. It's
and wreaks havoc in the streets, causing the deaths of many drivers and bystanders.
Yes.
This is people are crashing, getting run over.
Smushed between two cars.
Yes.
Hit, thrown out windows. It's literal anarchy.
It is. It's a great scene. And we see
really good.
David just running back and forth, nipping and snarling at people.
Yeah.
And he goes down an alley. Mm-hmm. He is ultimately trapped and surrounded in an alleyway by the police. Alex runs down the alley in an attempt to calm David by telling him that she loves him. Although David appears to recognize her for a brief moment, he lunges forward and is shot by police.
I think you meant Batman fathered him.
Yes.
Yeah, Batman parentsed him.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. Alex cries while staring at David, reverted to human form, lying dead and naked on the ground. The end. That's how it ends.
Yeah, and it
It's not a
ends.
sequel.
And yeah, it ends exactly the same way Ginger Snaps ends, where it's like that's it. The main character dies, and
There's never any after effects. It's always Beast is dead.
Yeah, that's all you guys came to see. So yeah, it was like I keep saying, it was a good movie. Yeah, I like this one.
This is haven't seen all the way through. I've seen all the clips. I've seen this and that of it, but seeing it from start to end, love it. Mm-hmm. I can see why everyone says it's one of the best, if not the best, werewolf movie of all time.
Definitely,
I get it. The effects are just amazing.
They really are. Yes. So, what would you rate it then?
4.5.
Same.
This was such
we must be on the
good-
same brainwave
This
today.
is such a good movie.
It really is. It's got like all the elements of such a great movie.
Yeah.
Like, I want to already rewatch it because I just like want to pick up on stuff that I missed the first time or anything like that.
Yeah. And like the music was great in this.
So good. I was reading in the trivia that they used all songs that have the word moon in it.
Yep. They have Bobby Vinton's slow singing version of Blue Moon.
Yep.
Van Morrison's Moon Dance plays David and Alex Make Love.
Yep.
CCR's Bad Moon Rising plays David nears the moment of changing.
Yep.
It says it's really Blue Moon by Sam Cooke. Mm-hmm. And at the end credits song, the Marcel's doo-wop version of Blue Moon, which we loved.
It's a good song.
We're jamming to that pretty good.
Yes. I downloaded that song when I heard it in Greece.
Oh,
They played Blue Moon in Greece.
nice.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. The music was awesome. The special effects were amazing.
Yeah.
I still can't believe how great it was for special effects for 1981. Yeah, just the practical, the blood. I'll never get over Jack's first when he visits David. It was so good.
That was so good.
Ugh.
And I guess you're saying how they had to cut some stuff out to avoid R, or to earn an R. They cut the sex scene between Alex and David. They had an extended scene showing the homeless men getting killed, because you don't even see them getting killed. Along with the husband and wife getting attacked. Mm-hmm. There was also the audience reacted negatively to it.
Right. Yeah. Which is fair. Like, for the time, people probably weren't as used to it because, like, Halloween and Friday the 13th and everything were just kind of starting to come out. So they would have been shocking for that kind of stuff. So I get it. But it still sucks because I would have loved to see it and see what they could have done with it just because the rest of the practical effects in this movie were so good. Yeah. So it kind of feels like a missed opportunity. Bit of FOMO.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And some of the deaths were so good. Like the way you would attack the throat.
Yes.
It goes for the face. Like when he decapitated the police chief, like he got a couple good close-up shots of it gnawing on the face and the neck of the police officer.
Before the head just goes flying.
And his head goes flying. It's so good. Like this, the effects are incredible.
Yes.
And again, no CGI. It's all practical.
All practical,
which is why it gets such a high rating in my view.
Yes,
it's just
I
so
agree.
good.
And what about Kill of the Flick?
I think we'll have to go with Jackson's beginning.
Yes.
Vicky liked that one too.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
She was there briefly, but she was there for that one.
Yes.
But just how the first werewolf is just like gnawing on him, and there's blood and guts and
David takes off.
Oh yeah, David's like, nope.
Nope. And he's like, oh, Jack, fuck. Heads back and no, the wolf's gone and Jack's laying there quite torn up.
Yes.
And then he gets attacked briefly. He gets a slash on the face and the chest, and then he gets gunned down.
Right.
But no, we see the effect right after when Jack shows up. He was wrecked.
Yes.
It was not good.
Ugh. Yeah, it was kind of hard. Like, not even hard to watch. You're just, like, so in awe of it because the effects were so good.
And his reaction, like him screaming, Jesus Christ, God, help, help, help. It's great. I'm you probably heard it for the interlude between Talking Shop and the some using. But it just sounds so good. It's so blood-curdling, and he's like, it just sounds great. It's just a
Yeah.
great, scary, unnerving sound.
Absolutely. Blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. But that was An American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Didn't have a great time, those boys. But,
No.
you know, it is what it is.
No.
And next week,
We're doing a sequel.
yeah.
We're doing American Werewolf in Paris.
Woo!
This one was not as well liked due to CGI, due to some casting changes. It was like a whole different crew, different director, different writer. But I liked it.
Yeah.
I
mean,
liked it solely because of the soundtrack.
For sure. Okay.
The soundtrack in this was fucking amazing. It was
Interesting.
Bush.
Okay.
They used Bush for this one.
Yeah.
And kind of the same idea.
Yeah.
I explained to you, like, one of the main characters is the daughter of David and Alex.
Right. Which makes sense because
Yep.
we don't really know what happened to them.
Yep.
Well,
And
her, I guess.
we find out.
Okay.
find out.
Interesting.
And it's more of a werewolf community.
Yeah.
And it's got the same feel. You know, if one guy gets killed, he goes use a ghost.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's a
Cool.
really. I think I liked it when I
Yeah.
saw it. I saw the one before in London.
Okay.
I didn't realize there was a connection.
Okay. Sure.
I knew that there was, Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
But I know they're connected.
Interesting.
And this one though, it suffers from CGI. But
that happens.
But I loved it. I remember seeing it when it came to DVD. I rented it, or VHS.
Yep.
It was VHS. I rented it, and I love this movie. I really do. I really do love Werewolf in Paris.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to watch it because I've never seen it. I wasn't even aware that I knew of it, but just in passing. Like, I don't remember. Like, I saw it on a streaming platform or something, and I was just like, huh. And then I read the reviews, and I was like, and everybody's like, see, American Werewolf in London instead. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
I think it gets an unfair
Like comparison?
take. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I know you'll feel the same way.
Yeah.
But I think it's a go for a werewolf movie. It's a solid movie.
Perfect.
It sticks to the mythos very well.
Awesome.
And like, the soundtrack is just killer.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This episode was brought to you by our executive producer, Ichabod. We hope you enjoyed your Horr-Gasm as much as we did. Please don't forget to rate, download, and subscribe. Also, like and follow us on Facebook at Horr-Gasm Podcast, Instagram at Horr-Gasm, Twitter at Gasm Horror, and YouTube at the Horr-Gasm Podcast. If you have a movie you'd like us to review, this is the best way to let us know. We hope to see you again next week because we have such sights to show you.